Hello everyone, I'm Undead Horde and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video we're going to be taking a look at what my goals slash plans are for the future and the year of 2026. This video will be split up into two parts. The first part is going to talk about my channel, and the second part is going to talk about my own personal life. Don't anybody feel like they have to sit down and actually watch or like listen to that portion of the video if you guys do not want to. It's going to be out there partially for me, but partially if anybody in my audience generally does care about that type of stuff, that is out there for anybody who wants to listen to it or whatever. So rolling to the first part here is the channel, and so admittedly, this is my second time recording this video. The first time I went try to do it, my computer had died on me because I forgot to plug it in. So a second attempt. The channel is pretty simple across the board. Is a sub goal between 200 to 300 subs by the end of the year would be great. Not additional. I mean, getting to either 200 subs or to 300 subs by the, like somewhere in that range by the end of the year would be great. And I don't want anybody looking at that and be like, oh, well, that number might be like far and away too low. Shouldn't you try to shoot for higher numbers and things like that? And the answer is no. Because I'm living in a world of realism and also what could be a very tangible goals. And I think a reasonable tangible goal to make it to would be 200 or 300 subs by the end of the year. And that's just based off of what I've already kind of done so far. Because basically what I'm looking at is trying to gain like bare minimum 10 additional subs per month, which if I gained 80 subs within a month and a half starting off this channel, I don't think it's unreasonable to try and push for that amount each month as a goal. Am I going to hit it every single month? The answer is no. There's definitely going to be some months where I'm going to be much lower than that, but I generally do feel like there's months I could either hit that goal or even higher than that goal, and that is kind of the hope in what I feel like could happen with the projection of the channel. Now for content, there are some things that I definitely want to work on and do better about, and that's editing is like a big thing. So I want to just, I think first and foremost, and people might have to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section down below. I think something that I feel like I want to at least have a better understanding of for sure is audio editing. Because there's definitely some videos that I make, and I've explained in those videos where it's like, hey, audio is not great, don't know how to fix it, but this is going to just be the content. I'm sorry. I don't want to have to produce those videos nearly as much. So I either want to get better about making sure my audio is just correct the first time, or at least if those issues do come up, which they will happen again, is that I at least have a better understanding of how to fix them, or at least not make them as glaring as they have been beforehand. So that I think is kind of more on the higher priority for me. Number 2 would be just standard actual video editing. Just getting better about generally sitting down and like listening through the video much better and being able to cut out things where it's like, oh, this ran a little bit longer than it should have. I could trim that down. Or, hey, there's a cough, there's a sneeze here, there's something like that where it could just get cut out. And I've explained this before, but I'll say it again in this video so everybody knows. How I edit my videos is very simple. I finish up the recording, I put everything inside Filmora, and I sit down, and if there's any parts in the video where there was a major pause, things where it's like a train was coming, so I had to stop recording. I needed to step away to go help my daughter, or anything that it could be. If there was like a major pause section of the video and the recording just ran, I would trim out that section. And I would make sure the audio was all at the same, like the bar was at the same point. So I'd always bring up the bar to 7.20 like BP or whatever it is, just generically across the board, and make sure that none of the volume spikes go above that bar. If the volume spikes go above that bar, then like what I should do is I should just clip into that one section and bring that one section down. But what I end up doing is I just end up taking the entire bar and just lowering it until just across the board, no spikes reach above that bar. I mean, some videos actually might be louder. They might be like 12.60 that I go for. If nothing spikes above that, then I don't mind bringing it up there, just so that generally speaking, the video is going to be louder, so that people don't have to push their volumes and stuff nearly as high and things like that. And it could just be generally heard a lot better. Hopefully that's how that works. So that is how I tend, and then I just go. That's it. I cut out the end of the video just after the piece. I might leave like a second or two longer. Then I cut it and I export it, and that's it. That's my video editing, which is not great. So I want to get better about making more like deliberate cuts. Things where I'm actually could be like, oh, this segment just ran for just a little too long. I just had a little bit longer of a pause than I should have had. Just get rid of it. Or things like that where the video could flow. What I think the idea should be is that the video would flow better if I do that. And then the third thing is, and this is not technically on like levels of importance overall, but the third thing would be thumbnails, which technically thumbnails should be on, if I were to actually do a level of importance, it should actually be thumbnails first, then audio, and then video editing. Because, and why I think about it that way is people still watch the videos or listen to videos anyways, right? I have enough people who generally sit down, watch, and follow through the content, in which shouldn't have like the biggest concern about, there's a sneeze here. You know, I've never really gotten a comment, and maybe people are just nice about it, or like whatever, like there could be like multiple like reasons behind it. But it's one of the things where it's like, yeah, I've never really made it to a point in which somebody's like, oh, you sneezed, you should have cut that out. Like that's never really happened to me. And so that's something where it's like, you know, I'm not, at least it doesn't eat away at me as much as it should / could. And so I don't stress too much about those things. But the biggest thing about thumbnails is that thumbnails at least get people invested into the video and makes them actually want to sit down and watch the video. And so because of that, it's like I need to find a better way at attracting people to come and enjoy the content. And so thumbnails really should be up on the higher priority. But there's always an argument too, well, you get people hooked and get them to enter, but if they can't stay into the video. And so there is like this really ugly balance across the board that comes down with YouTube, in which everything has to be evened out and stuff like that. And that alone is also a very difficult thing to always do. But I think in my mind, thumbnails would have to just increase in general. And I've talked about this before. So the thumbnails that like I currently do for like the Daily Quest videos, I like the simplicity of it. I like the fact that I can just go in, change just what number episode it is, and kind of go with it. I'm going to keep that style, what I think I want to try and do more of is being able to just integrate parts in the thumbnail that actually happen in the video. Even if it's something small, I think it would be nice to have like little more like nods of what's going on in the video so people have something that they might be able to look forward to. Even if it's like, oh, I bring up a champion to X Ascension, then it's like I could have that be in the thumbnail where it's like, oh, was like, okay, Ascension's going to happen. Who's the champion going to be that's going to get it? It's not a great mystery. It's not necessarily the best hook in a thumbnail, but at least it's better effort than what has been going on instead of just seeing the same generic thing across the board all the time. And then falling in line with that, just with like the free to play videos and stuff like that, just being able to produce something better for those as well, content wise and stuff like that. Just for the thumbnails, as well with that, just getting better style, because the free to play account generally should be the more interesting one across the board, and that one I should be able to hook people with a lot better because a lot more stuff happens. And so, that really a push on that one for those videos as well. Next is content production. I obviously still want to stick with the consistency schedule of the daily quest every single day, or at least the best that I can every single day. That will not change. That's what the content started with, and that's going to be the bedrock that's going to stay for a very, very long time, if not forever, of the channel. What really I'm talking about is the other content. So I want to produce, I think, more videos on the free-to-play. I think free-to-play is very good. I think free-to-play across the board is things that people generally love, as much as my dedicated followers of the channel enjoy the challenges that I have. They're doing them as well. We talk about them on Discord and stuff like that. As much as that has become a big aspect of who I am, I will never lie or kid myself when it generally comes down to it that people really love free-to-play content. And I could realistically develop a whole other dedicated audience inside my channel who cares about the free-to-play content that I produce. And so that's something that I should have be more on the forefront than what I do have it. And so I do want to look in producing more of that content as well. It also should be able to keep me more on track with the free-to-play account as well, where I feel like I have fallen behind a little bit, and I don't want to do that anymore. I do want that to still be up kind of on par with everything else. And so I might look to actually producing that video up to 3 times a week. I consistently want to do 2 times a week and really have it be the Undead Horde, the main account every single day, have at least a free-to-play account twice a week, but if I can manage it 3 times a week on the free-to-play account, and then the other accounts would just be one big weekly video is what I'm leaning towards. I would just do the Poison Man, Void, and Defense only as one update video a month or a week, in which is just like I set a goal for myself, and in that week I succeed with that goal, and you guys see the efforts of that. And that would just be probably one of those videos too that would be more of a higher edited video as well, because there's more opportunities for that to be the case in that style of video. Speaking of higher edited videos, I like to produce at least 1 video a month, if not eventually every 2 weeks. That is slightly more on the editing scale, but just different content. It might just be like champion discussion. It might just be talking about the challenges, whatever. Just something where it's more like an informational video that I can get out there and actually feel like I can do a better cracking at the editing on it. If not me, then maybe somebody from the Discord who's offered in the past to do it. And I don't want to butcher their name again, even though they told me how to pronounce it. Don't want to butcher their name, so I'm afraid of saying it. But Lyria, we're going to do this live looking up because I feel bad. Where is my Discord? Also, if you're not following the Discord, please go follow the Discord. We would all really appreciate everybody being there and stuff like that. So do up, do up. I promise you, I am getting there. Lyria. I know she has offered to help with a lot of that type of stuff as well. And so if she is still up to it, then I may have her do that. And so I don't want to take credit for the editing because that wouldn't be me. But I would like to be able to produce at least one video a month that is of higher quality and get that kind of ball rolling. Other than that, that's like a lot of like the channel stuff I think I wanted to talk about. Oh, you know, I want to put this out there as well because I've discussed this before, but I really want this to become something that gets talked about genuinely, about doing a live stream. And I may consider doing a live stream. Like, I would love to eventually get to like once a week. But maybe try to start out like once a month in which I do a live stream. And I do a live stream in which we just sit down. It would just be like a lot of like sit down, look at the channel, look at the accounts, clean them up artifact wise, see if there's anything I can do to increase the champions artifact wise, and just do like a genuine like discussion on things and team planning and stuff like that. So if that's something that people would be interested in partaking in, then let me know. But you would have to be a part of the Discord server to really get a lot of that information and stuff like that about when those would be happening. So yeah, that's something I definitely want to do as well. I like live streaming. I don't feel like I always have the time for it, but if I actually craft out a time and actually have it set up being like a specific plan where I know people are going to be there and stuff like that, then I would definitely spend the time more to do that. I think that's really the major points content-wise that I want to talk about. So this next section here is going to be talking about more of my personal life. And so if that's things that people care about, then please, you're more than welcome to keep watching, obviously. But if you don't, then please leave. Don't feel bad if you want to cut out at this point in time and stuff like that. It doesn't bother me. So let's get into it. Personally, there's just a couple of things that have been on my mind that I just really generally want to get out there. And part of adding it in this video is so that I have open transparency with the people who watch my videos. I think that's important. But it's also because then I feel like if I talk about it, I can actually make it more real to myself about actually going out of my way to doing it. And so that actually helps give me the push that I need. Some of the goals, it's nothing crazy, by the way, but it is just stuff that just like general, what is it, like change of something of life stuff that just I feel like is important, that I feel like everybody should generally be doing. But just I guess not everybody, because I don't know everybody's life and stuff like that, so I shouldn't say that. But something that I feel like is important for me to do, that I feel like a lot of people have pushed into doing more, and I think it's good, and I want to be a part of that just in a small way. One of it is just generally taking care of my body eating right and working out and exercising again. So in the eating category, I don't want everybody to think like, oh, think that I eat horribly. I don't. I don't eat fat. I maybe have fast food like once a week. When we do make meals and we sit down and have them, it's usually, pretty solid protein and veg at least of some kind. But most meals have some form of a starch between potatoes and bread and things like that. And we usually have those for a couple of like a meal. Typically when we cook it will last about 2 days before we make another one, unless it's like a soup or a casserole, then it might last up to 3 days. And so it's like generally I eat pretty healthy, or in that regard, when it comes down to dinners. When it comes down to everything else is where I struggle. I don't tend to eat breakfast most days. I also don't tend to eat lunch most days. It's either because I work late at work, and so when I get up in the morning, I wake up late in the morning, so I don't have time to generally eat one of the two meals. And so I will tend to just do like a late breakfast type deal, or some type of like lunch around like 11 o'clock ish most days before I go to work. And then I'll have like a snack on my break, something small. And then I'll come home and I'll gorge myself a lot more at night and then go to bed. So it's not great. So I want to get better about either planning out meals where I can have them, or just doing something better for myself to at least consistently have 3 meals. And then that way it could also cut down on one of the biggest problems that I have, which is snacking throughout the day. And when you work at a dollar store, the candy is really cheap to snack on. And so I will oftentimes find myself walking around in my pocket having like a thing of gummy bears or something like that, in which I just snack on throughout the day. And I also tend to drink a lot of soda, which is not great either. And so that's another big thing I want to cut that back on, is my soda intake, and start picking up water, because I do not drink plain water. I just don't. Now, I will still probably continue to not really drink plain water, but adding in the flavorings where it's like the 0 sugar, 0 whatever stuff, to at least be able to do it. But just generally incorporating like genuine water into my diet would be a huge step for me. So that, and just cutting out, like and just even like general snacks like around the house and stuff like that, where we tend to have like a decent amount of like, it's not horrible, like chips and things like that, especially like around this time of year. We've got like a lot of cookies, a lot of Christmas tree cakes. We love Little Debbie snacks. We tend to have like a lot of those in the house, and I might eat like 2 or 3 of them a day sometimes. And so it's just generally just thinking about the stuff that I put in my body just a little bit more, incorporating more fruits as snacks and things like that, or vegetables and snacks, which I generally do like. It's just not as easy to always think about doing it when I could grab something that's packaged real fast and whatever else. So that's that. And then physical health, too, would just be like working out a little bit more. I wouldn't call myself necessarily like super, super bad. Like a lot of people tell me that I don't really look all that bad and stuff like that for my height and whatever else. What I believe the truth is that, so I'm 5'11", I'm 25 years old, I'm 5'11", I weigh 225 pounds. I believe I'm supposed to weigh somewhere between like 55 and like 84 pounds, according to the charts that are out there. But that's obviously what your BMI is supposed to be. And I don't know exactly what that is for myself, because I do have some form of muscle to me. I mean, I was a wrestler. I did work out for like 3 years of high school. I did gain some type of muscle development. And I also like never stopped lifting up heavy things between heavy boxes and whatever else. So it's like I still have some level of like muscle definition and stuff to me. So some of that weight could just be obviously because of muscle. But So my goal would probably be to cut down to like 200. Uh, and just consistently stay around 200, I think would make me pretty happy. It's just a lot of swimming out in the stomach and stuff like that. But I would also like to just increase my muscle to the point in which at least I look comfortable, like when I look at myself, that I at least have some type of muscle definition more than like when I have, where you don't necessarily need to flex to be like, oh, he's got muscle to him. Where it's like, oh, he's got something to him, but like when I flex and it's like, oh, there's like a lot more. But I want there to be at least some level of like people could look at me and be like, oh, he's not a sleaze, or like he's not nothing to sneeze at, and things like that. Um, Not just for me, but just for my wife, so I can be happy for her, for my girl, so I can be happy for them, or healthy for them, and that they could also look at me and I could actually look like a real protector, where I don't always feel like that I am some days. Not that I ever want to go out and have to do that, but if it came down to it, I want to feel like that I'm capable. Also, a really big thing for me too is I'm not very flexible anymore. I've like lost a lot of like my mobility and my flexibility that I used to have. I would love to gain that back, and not hurt nearly as much as I used to. It's just such a big thing to me as well. I think that's really it on like, oh, and stamina. Going out for runs a little bit more often. I feel like I get gassed just a little too easy. I feel like some of that though, I'll gain some of that type of stamina as I work out more and my body has to do that type of stuff. I should be able to gain some of that back, where I might be pretty happy with where the results are when I get there. But I'll see, and if I need to start incorporating like a lot more cardio to gain that, then I will. Um, and I guess like the last category always should be like mental health wise. For the most part, I do pretty good in like the mental health category. For the most part, I tend to know how to take care of myself if I feel like I'm losing myself a little bit. I have people that I can talk to. I used to see a therapist for a while and stuff like that, and I still have contact with him if I ever need to. So it's like I generally have that stuff down pat for sure. At least decently so, but there is always some moments where I do feel like I get myself a little bit too gassed, and just remembering that it is okay to step away and to give myself space if I need it, and just getting better about recognizing that am allowed to do that and people are going to understand, because I don't always allow myself to have that level of wiggle room of people's understanding. So that's really it. So this was such a long video, but I mean, it has to get out there and stuff like that. This is what's important to me that I have produced and put out there for myself. And I mean, part of it obviously for the channel, so people understand what's going on with the channel, but also for me personally, just so I can have something to look back on and be like, did I really reach my goals? Yes or no? So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, or at least I hope you understand. And please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Check out the Discord server, and I'll catch you guys in another video soon. Peace.